Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से.
South Africa are the masters of the thrillers at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024, and they continue to get on the right side of a thrilling result. They managed to do that against England in a topsy-turvy game that ebbed and flowed in both innings, that saw the most dramatic change on that win probability graph, where at one stage, with England needing 77 of the last 6, the win probability was 10% for Jos Buttler's side. And then came 3 bizarre overs worth 52. They needed 25 of 18. And South Africa's win probability was less than 10%. But Kagiso Rabada, Andrik Nokke, and in between that Marco Jansen managed to get the job done. South Africa win by 7 in a game of plenty that we'll unpack on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo TimeOut, powered by Dish TV. Watcher Anil Kumble in studio with me. I'll let him have a moment. Andy Flower in the United Kingdom, who said this could be a pretty straightforward chase. I'll let him have a moment, because it is time to go to Morne Morkel in Sydney to get the raw, unadulterated emotion of what he has just witnessed. Take it away, Morne.
Pie there.
Morne, start over, because I don't think we caught your first words. Why don't you just start over? Take it away, Morne. Take 2.
I think Andy should go first, and because he was such a high at the innings break, and he should eat some humble pie there. But I'll open it up. What a performance by South Africa, with the ball. It's not the first time in this World Cup we've seen them defend or doing it with the ball, and they needed to do it here tonight. Defending 150, we all thought was a below par score. Maybe it still was, but I thought they summed up the conditions quite well. They came out with real intensity with the ball. They got the run rate up as quick as possible, and they just created some pressure.
That having been said, and I want to go to Andy. Morne, what was going through your mind when you saw those overs I mentioned? That was, I think, if I'm not wrong, overs 15, 16 and 17, where the Yorker just didn't land?
Yeah, they went for 52 in South Africa in that 3 overs. And they just moved away from the plan a little bit of what worked, the whole day. And that is purely just the pressure that Brooks and Livy put on the bowlers. I know the wind was blowing and there was maybe a shorter side, but as a bowler, you wanna back what's worked all day. And I think Neil Baartman, that's probably sort of the experience he lacked. He lacks coming into the World Cup, going to his strengths, which is a Yorker, which any coach will say, okay, let's back your strength first. But for me, to adapt again to, okay, what is the important thing on the surface? What is our go-to ball here? I think South Africa, they were a bit naughty in that 3 overs there.
Yeah, he calls them naughty. It's a polite way from Morne Morkel. But that Baartman over had us scratching our heads. 5 full tosses?
Yeah, it probably was the pressure that got the better of Baartman there. And yes, South Africa, I think it was a game of, within the 20 overs when they batted, it was a game of 2 halves. First 10 overs they dominated, and the next 10 overs they just fell apart. England came back into that game, and then again the first 10 overs they bowled exceptionally well. Power play, they got Phil Salt out, and then again in the second 10 overs, those 3-4 overs where they just lost it. They were looking to bowl fast on a wicket where you knew that if you hit the pitch, there was a lot more, and the batters found that tougher.
Yeah.
But somehow South Africa pulled another game. We spoke about it. Yes, they were certainly 20 runs short, but they had to do something special, which they did eventually. I thought, Markram sort of rallied his troops really, really well. Rabada stood out. Maharaj stood out with his left arm spin. But in the end, they fielded exceptionally well as well to create those pressure moments.
Let's not forget that Aiden Markram catch. Incredible, perhaps a single point difference. But Andy, it's such a strange game to try and analyze or review because of how heavily the pendulum swung. At certain stages, both teams would have felt like this isn't close, we're well ahead. And then suddenly you have these 3 overs of 50-odd runs, then you have 3 overs where you've defended 20-odd. I'm sure you'd have scribbled a lot in that very thorough coach's diary that you keep. So just take me through what your emotions were and what was the point of difference towards the end.
Well, it's firstly, it's lovely to see Morne with a big smile on his face at 4 o'clock in the morning. But the first big pendulum swing, I guess, was around the halfway mark when South Africa batted, when they were 87 for 1. And then they really didn't capitalize on that brilliant start at all. And then at the halfway mark, I think most sensible people would have thought that England were ahead in the game, even though the pitch was slightly slower than I think most of us anticipated. And then, as you say, it shows that the analytical work on those match predictor numbers don't tell a full story, and that is the beauty of our game of cricket, actually, that it can turn so quickly and so dramatically. So I must say I completely agree with Anil's comment a few minutes ago when he highlighted Markram's captaincy and cool head under a lot of pressure, because he could easily have shown frustration at some of the things that were happening out there in the middle. He could have lost his clear thinking and made some poor decisions, but he didn't. They adjusted from the error in attempting Yorkers on a slow pitch that was holding and conducive to slow ball bowling, and they reverted back to that successful method for the last 3 overs, and it bore fruit. So much credit to Markram and his troops for keeping cool when really they could have capitulated at the end there. 25 of 18, you would almost always back a batting side to get that.
Are we seeing the captaincy career of Aiden Markram now almost evolved to its peak, Morne?
Look, he's been from under 19 level been sort of marked as the next leader for this Protea team, and I think especially the last 2 years he's done exceptionally well. And in the SA20, led the Sunrisers to two trophies and really captained and formed that team, form a unity in that team. So a big tick there. But I think for me, just to add on to that, sometimes he will put himself on the boundary just to escape the bit of the madness for an over or two. But what I liked was Connie de Kock, senior player, connecting with Keshav Maharaj at extra cover, to give feedback to the bowler. And you need when the pressure is on, you need your senior players or guys, your wicketkeeper especially, to join in that sort of party or in that huddle and just take a little bit of pressure for a moment or two off the captain, because the captain's got a lot to think about, fielding, who's going to bowl the next over. So I thought of this collectively it was a great effort from the senior players, especially when South Africa were under the pump, when England started to put pressure on the bowlers. For Quinny and those guys just to say, okay, let's calm down, let's go back to our colours, that's worked for us. That for me was a great thing to see.
All right, interesting. I think there's some superpower which is also giving you a thumbs up. I thought my eyes are deceiving me, but someone's doing that. On a very serious note though, Morne, how pleased are you, having been part of the South African team for so long, to watch them get on the right side of close games, almost get on top of pressure situations? We know that South African teams in the past at times have fallen short. Is something changing?
Look, I think you need a bit of luck to go your way. And at the moment, South Africa is, yes, they're playing good cricket. I think they've got a squad in the Caribbean at the moment that's played a lot of cricket. They're experienced. It's a tight unit, and this is sort of almost like this. The mentality of this group is slightly different to the guys that played in the past. I don't think they overthink the game a lot. They've got a different attitude and a different way of attacking this game, and at the moment it's working for them.
Like Markram, let you go to the boundary for a little while, because you can't get that smile off your face even when he's making those thoughts. I can almost see it from Morne, so I'll let him have a breather and get Andy and Anil to win as well. Morne talks about luck, and you can't just sort of make it luck when it's 4 or 5 games, but sometimes that's the difference. Today it's hard to overly criticize even England or South Africa. Is it fair to say?
These T20 games, go to the wire, and we have seen that. And invariably in a tournament like this, you want these close games to go your way. South Africa have had too many of those in this tournament already, and they've been on the winning side every single time. So that confidence and the calmness that sort of comes along with it, yes, there's a bit of chaos, but in that chaos, Markram has certainly shown the fortitude to sort of show his bowlers that, listen, I know you guys can do this. And that's exactly what was conveyed today. I mean, it's not just about when things are happening like that. It's not about communicating to your bowlers. It's also about your own body language.
Yes.
And that, I thought, was very good. And the catch that he took of Brook, that literally changed the game.
Was that the biggest turning point?
Oh, yes, absolutely, because Brook was batting brilliantly. Him and Livingston, these two certainly put on the show. And those 2 wickets were the critical ones. I mean, Rabada got, so the senior players stood up, Quinton with the bat, then Rabada with the ball, Maharaj with the ball, and then finally, in the end, you had Marco Janssen and also Andrik Nokia certainly putting the hand up.
If they go all the way, Andy, you could almost write a book on just that one catch from Markram and how big a moment it perhaps was. We're looking at the ball and we're thinking, was that again pace on? Was it there to hit? And there was mid-off inside the circle. But just take me through the story of that one delivery and how significant do you think that catch of Brook was?
Well, I'd agree that it was really significant. Obviously, Brook is in good form. He is a genuine winner, and he's brilliant with the bat. So he was the man they needed out. I think that the story goes back a long way on that catch. Markram is a brilliant fielder, and he puts in the time. If you watch him train, he is a dedicated trainer. He takes his preparation seriously, and there will have been hundreds and hundreds of hours over his career that have gone into building himself physically, that he could get there in time, that he could get in the right position, that he could get those big strong mitts of his around the ball. So just the physical training that gets him into that sort of condition is admirable. But then he had to stay calm, he had to keep his eyes on the ball as it's tracking over his shoulder. And it was a brilliant piece of cricket under tremendous pressure. So I must say he needs and deserves a lot of praise for the way he handled himself today. And it really stands South Africa in good stead for this tournament and the future, that they've got a guy like him, a calm, strong, ethical young man.
And also the fact that when they batted first, he was not sort of shy away from sending a Klaasen, because I thought that was the right move. Yes, it didn't work today in terms of Klaasen coming through, but that was the right move. Then he sent Miller in. Miller certainly worked, and then he came into bat. I mean, he's the captain. He could have easily walked in at number 3 and then said, look, I can take you guys on now, and that's the position that you could take. But he did all the right things of sending a Klaasen in that moment, because I thought that was the right move.
Yeah, and certainly all their selections have turned out to be well thought. Shamsi came in, became player of the match in one game. They brought back Bartman, the decisions they've made. Anything to add, Morne, on perhaps the Aiden Markram story on his fitness? I'm sure you've perhaps pulled more weight than him in the gym, but if you want to just add a little more.
No, not much to add. Like Andy, you guys summed up very well. He works hard at the game. I think he's got a nice network behind the scenes of players or ex-players that he'll tap in, and that's great for him. He'll go from strength to strength. But like you say, on the field, you want a captain or a leader that's calm. And with his body language, when he passes the ball onto the bowler, you could see that he's calm. He's feeding the bowler the confidence that he backs the bowler. And that as a bowler, that's a great feeling when you receive the ball from the captain and you know that he's 100% behind me. That as a bowler you want that. So I think for Aiden, he's a natural leader, and for me, he's a guy that's going to lead this team to hopefully a special trophy.
Say it, Morne, say it. Yeah. Say it. Are you one of those ex-players as well? Are you one of those ex-players, Morne? I'm very keen to know. Still in touch with the South African captain? Parting down some wisdom?
Yeah, I do connect with him. Whenever we bump into each other at the IPL or SA20s, or I'll send him a message just to stay in touch. I think it's important to support the boys. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a quality guy,
Sure.
and yeah.
All right, let's take some comments. Banik says, what a brilliant game. Had everything. Final before the final. He's calling it the final. There's another one here which says, is the universe conspiring for South Africa? It could be a South Africa-India final. Looking at some more. Lots of praise on our YouTube live comments for Aiden Markram. The 16th and 17th over could have cost them the game, says Memer Jod. But Nokia came up and made it. Kudos to Captain Cool Markram. Markram's captaincy and fielding alone should give him a position in the side. We don't need to worry about his batting. So lots of pro Markram and very fond comments for South Africa. Morne, you like the sound of that? South Africa-India final?
South Africa-India final, anybody who South Africa plays against sounds good to me as long as they're there. I mean, I know our biggest or highest hurdle will be that semi-final, and I know Andy's waiting to throw that comment, so I thought I'll get it out there as quick as possible. But yeah, at the moment, the South African team is looking solid. They're a confident bunch. It all just looks like they're in good space. So long may it continue.
I must say, Andy, he's suddenly positioned you, which is not my intention at all, as this very pro-English and very anti-South African voice today.
I think some people they just need an enemy, don't they? And Morne has positioned me like that. Even though I stayed so neutral when I was talking about my heritage.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about England for a little while, shall we? What does this game teach us about England and where the potential holes are? I'm sure India have watched this, Australia as well, who might come up against them depending on what the semi-final looks like. But spin, off-pace, your thoughts on the holes for England side?
I think Phil Salt, that's the bottom line. I mean, Phil Salt is their key player. We've seen that Joss Butler is a quality batter, but he needs to sort of come good for them. Phil Salt, if you get him out early, then they are in trouble. Today again, he got out early. Then the middle order isn't that special. I mean, Johnny Bairstow against left-arm spin.
There we go
We've
again.
seen that, yeah. And again, Maharaj came in and picked up that wicket.
That was a matchup that worked today, right? Maharaj against Butler and Bairstow.
It did. And on a slow surface like this, England will need that start that they always sort of got right through this tournament. And today they didn't, and that's why they faltered. So Phil Salt to me is the biggest sort of challenge for any opposition.
And do you want to add on to that? What's England still missing?
Well, I'd agree that Salt is the big danger man for them with the bat. Absolutely. I mean, they've got some power, and with Bairstow and Brook and Livingston there in the middle order. But Salt and his form that he's taken from the IPL and his confidence that he's taken from the IPL into this tournament is absolutely key. I thought today, just talking about some of their strengths, Adil Rashid was brilliant again. His bowling is canny and courageous, the way he takes pace off the ball, and he seems to be able to read batsmen. And I thought Jofra Archer was excellent, actually. He got hit hard in his first over. He went for 20 in his first over. And he came back so absolutely brilliantly to end with figures of 3 for 40 in his 4. And getting the crucial wicket of Quinton de Kock as well. Reece Topley was solid, didn't get any wickets, but only went for 23 in his 4 overs. So England's got a lot of really good stuff going for them, and obviously, just getting through into those semi-finals is the key step for them.
Morne?
Yeah, for me, obviously England, they play that aggressive brand up front. Butler for me is a man that can always sort of plan and do chases very well. So that was a big moment for me when South Africa got him out. And then obviously Harry Brook, he's got the power game. He can play the 360 and very, very dangerous with bat in hand. But jumping back to the South African sort of team, for me, a big plus was the fact again with Quinton de Kock. A couple of games before, a lot of people were calling for Ryan Rickleton to come into the team. And the management just stuck with their senior player, the experienced player. It's a World Cup, and you need your senior players to come to the party. And now back-to-back games, batted beautifully. He's giving South Africa that start in the power play. And I think, for me, that is even if you look at India, because a lot of guys are scratching with Virat, should Virat drop down to 3? Stick with your best players at the top. They'll face the most amount of balls, and they'll get you into those winning positions.
He just can't stop smiling, Morkel. He just cannot. I love it. All right, brilliant. On that note, thank you, gentlemen. Let's have a rapid-fire review of a thrilling game, one that could be pivotal in the race for the semi-finals, where South Africa positioned themselves very well with 2 wins out of 2. It's still reasonably narrow wins, so we keep an eye out for net run rate. The West Indies would keep an eye on this. England must bounce back. They've played their 2 tough games, you'd think, with due respect to the US. That's their last game in the Super 8s. Rapid-fire review time. Anil Kumble, let me start with you. 60 for 3 in the first 10 overs of the chase for England. How telling was that to the eventual result? 20 seconds.
Massive, because the first 6 overs, England have literally raced past in many run chases, and to get their 2 best batters out cheaply and then remaining in the game for South Africa, they had to restrict England in the first 10 overs, which they did wonderfully well. So that was the turning point.
All right, Morkel, 52 runs between overs 15 and 17, yet just 17 in the last 3. What did South Africa alter after that phase?
Is it now with the ball?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I just think they went back to what worked well for them on the surface. They bowled back of the length. They used the surface as the variation. And also they gave Nortje, Marco Jansen, guys that played IPLs, got the experience, the ball in hand.
All right. Andy Flower, in vain, but how would you describe the partnership between Harry Brook and Liam Livingstone? 20 seconds.
Outstanding partnership. I thought they worked well together. I thought they communicated well together. You saw them talking quite a lot, encouraging each other or passing on little tips, which is part of building a partnership together. And if Livingstone had stayed in another 6 balls, who knows what would have happened.
All right, Morne, let me go back to you. What explains the gulf between Quinton de Kock and the rest of South Africa's top order today?
What is the first part? Sorry, I missed that.
What explains the gulf between Quinton de Kock and the rest of South Africa's top order today, Morne?
The golf.
The gulf. What explains the gulf between Quinton de Kock and the rest of South Africa's top order? I know it's early hours, Morne. I'll let you have another crack at that.
Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you there.
Let me do that one more time, Morne. What explains
Andy,
the difference? No, Morne. I want you to say this. Okay. What was the difference between Quinton de Kock getting runs today and the rest of South Africa's top order not?
No, I just think he played fierce cricket. He was really sort of in a mood to take on this English bowlers, this English attack. Like I said, it's very important for your senior guys to stand up in big games. And like for me, he's in form at the moment. And when Quinton de Kock's in form, he's a dangerous player.
All right, thanks for that, Morne. Let's get to Anil Kumble now. Are we going to see a better catching performance in a single game again in the tournament? That was quite something from both teams.
No, it was. I mean, we've seen some wonderful fielding efforts from all teams, but today was very special. I mean, Butler behind the stumps, and then Aiden Markram, that catch, and even the fielding, overall fielding, catching was outstanding from both sides. We saw Sam Curran, and then of course Aiden Markram topped it all.
All right, and finally, Andy, does this game inform teams about what could be a significant difference in day and night games in this World Cup?
I would not classify that. I wouldn't generalize as much as that, actually, because I think conditions are so particular to that venue, and all the islands are slightly different. So I would judge those conditions on the day.
All right, fair enough. Well, it's a big thank you to Anil Kumble in studio, to Andy Flower, and yes, Morne, it's time to relieve you now. You could celebrate through the morning in Australia, but it's been brilliant to have you for your thoughts, and hopefully we'll see South Africa go a long way from here. Andy Flower, always a pleasure. Anil Kumble, you as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and thank you for sending your comments through as well. We look forward to your company for India versus Bangladesh tomorrow. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo TimeOut, powered by Dish TV. Watch will be live just around the toss. We'll also have a live show in the morning once we've had matters completed between the United States and the West Indies. So we'll see you again very soon. Download the mobile app. It'll have you covered with these multiple games on a daily basis. Josh Butler actually addressed the media a little while back. Very keen to hear what the England captain made of this result in an eventful game, but a great one. Once again, courtesy South Africa. They made it a habit of giving us these close finishes. We will see you again very soon. Good night.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
वॉचो ऐप पे देखो एक OTT के दाम पे सारे OTT शान से।
Watch